Welcome to the Reasonable Southerner podcast. The South isn't all magnolias in the moonlight, but neither is it all racism and violence. We are just like you. My name is Frances Coleman. I share my insights about my life and yours. One answer to the age-old question, will we see our pets in heaven? St. Peter hesitates at the open door to God's office, not sure if the Lord is napping or meditating. Both, God says, opening his eyes. Omni-talented, you know. What have you got? Another letter from somebody asking whether their pet is in heaven. St. Peter replies, I never know what to say. God closes his eyes again. After a minute or two, he says, read it to me. Trying to stifle a frown, St. Peter complies. Dear God, I need your help. Our wonderful Great Dane named Fletcher died the other day. He was the sweetest, gentle giant I ever knew, and I thank you for letting us have him for 7 years. My dilemma is, the next time our 3-year-old granddaughter visits, she's going to ask where Fletchy Boo is. I want to say that he's in doggy heaven, but I don't want to lie to her. I know that most theologians and Bible experts say animals don't have souls, so they don't go to heaven. What do you say, and what do we tell her? Signed, Frances in Alabama. Instead of answering the letter writer's questions, God says to Peter, tell me, old friend, why are you so annoyed, other than by the fact that I can read your mind, I mean? Well, St. Peter splutters, if she already knows the answer, then why ask the question? Heaven is for people and for angels. Heaven is not for animals. Another protracted silence on God's part, and then, Peter, you know I love you, but sometimes you still think like the Simon of old. Anyway, here's how I want you to write my reply. Dear Frances in Alabama, thank you for your letter, and you are most welcome. I love it when animals bring joy and comfort to people, and I feel your misery when they die. Your question, will you see Fletcher and your other pets when you join me in heaven, is legitimate, and I'm going to try to answer it by reminding you of a conversation you had many years ago with your earthly father, not long after one of your pets had died. You said, Daddy, will Tippy go to heaven? And he said, Frances Ann, I love how you Southerners call their daughters by both names. There's a lot we don't know about God and heaven and what happens when we die, but we believe that heaven is a place where we'll be happier than we ever were on earth, and we believe that God loves us more than we can possibly grasp. I think God knows that you are at your very happiest when you are with your pets and your family. And I believe that in heaven you'll be surrounded by what you love. Otherwise, we'll have to wait until we get there to know more. You were just a little girl, Frances, and yes, your father may have had a bourbon and 7-Up or two, but that was a profound conversation. He was correct when he spoke of humans' limited knowledge, a truth beautifully described by one of your world's greatest evangelists when he wrote, for now we see through a glass darkly. One day you will understand what you cannot possibly comprehend now, Frances Ann, and you will know a happiness that you can't envision now. As for your granddaughter and what she will ask about Fletcher, there's no need to fumble and stumble. Tell her what your father told you, and then hug her. And remember that all those theologians and Bible experts see through a glass darkly too. All my love, always, God. St. Peter closes his notebook and asks, do you think this woman will understand what you're saying? Because I'm not sure that I do, and I've been here for 2,000 years. She'll get the idea, God says. And now, let's take a break and go fishing, shall we? When you were on earth, you were at your very happiest when you were fishing, weren't you? As they walk out together, God sees a light come on in Peter's brain and smiles.
I'm Frances Coleman. I worked for newspapers for more than 45 years, from Texas to my native Louisiana, and finally to my home near Mobile, Alabama. I've been a reporter, an editorial writer, a columnist, and an editorial page editor. I've commented on the BBC, been a guest on the Rachel Maddow Show, and had my column distributed nationwide. If you like this podcast, please subscribe. But even if you don't like it, I hope you'll find it thought-provoking.